You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Wow, 2024. What an interesting year it's been. If you've been one of those people who've felt 2024 was just harder than it needed to be, then I think today's episode is absolutely one that you need to listen to because this is different. We are doing a deep dive into yourself, into the things that may have been holding you back and how to break free of them, step forward and step into your personal power to start off 2025 on the right foot. Stay tuned, it's coming right up.
Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and over the last 25 years in marketing and business, I've helped many brands to launch, scale, and grow, with some of them becoming multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm here to inspire you to get out of your own way and create a profitable, fulfilling business while living the lifestyle you really desire, without all the hustle. So I bring you She's the Business podcast, a unique blend of strategies, tactics, mindset, health, and spirituality, literally everything you need to be the successful leader of your dream business. Made by women, for women, this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration.
Well, hello there. This is the Christmas episode of She's the Business podcast. So glad that you're here to join me. If you're listening, you're on holiday, hopefully you're taking a bit of time for yourself. I am as well. I'm recording this from beautiful New Zealand. I'm down on the South Island, just in Wanaka, where my parents live. And I decided to take the kids here for about 4 weeks while we have our summer holidays. So if you're watching on video, you'll see I am in summer attire. And yes, our Christmases are warm and sunny. We have some beautiful seafood and a ham organized for lunch today, which I'm really looking forward to. But welcome. This is a little bit of a different episode, and we're going to do something a little bit outside of the usual business tactics and share with you, I guess, what I think is actually one of the most hidden keys to having success as an entrepreneur that I thought I could give you this as a Christmas gift, this episode, and let's set you up for a fantastic year in 2025. So in a moment, I will ask you to grab a pen and a piece of paper because I've got some questions that I think you will want to journal on, write some answers down to. So if you haven't got that, don't worry, you've got a few minutes to get your pen and paper sorted before we dive in. But first of all, let's actually set up the topic. What is it that we're even talking about here? And this came about because last week I was being interviewed on a podcast. One of my amazing peers in the online business space was interviewing me about my past and about my transition from the corporate life into entrepreneurship. And some of the questions that he asked me, I thought were really interesting because it helped me to see things in a totally different way. And as I reflected on it even more, I realized, well, this is actually really the key and so important that I need to come on here and share it with you guys as well. What happened was I spent years, 20 years of my life working in businesses, corporations. I worked for government, large and small businesses all over the world. And while they were great, I definitely had an amazing career, lots of fun, and I worked my way all the way up to the top of the ladder to head of marketing at the end. But reflecting back on it, in this interview, I realized that I'd spent all of those years giving away my personal power to what I thought others wanted of me. What that meant was I was being the person that I thought they wanted me to be. I was doing what they expected. I was trying to conform, trying to fit into the rules or the perceived rules, I guess, that I had of what they expected and what I thought society wanted of me. And what that means is you think about it after so much time of trying to be all the things that you think other people want you to be, you really lose a lot of sense of yourself. And it leads to an absolute lack of fulfillment personally, because you're really not aligned to your purpose, why you're here, what you're here to do. And, my role, even though we were doing some great things. I absolutely, I'd taken this company from a startup to being a multi-billion-dollar company that was in the top 100 listed firms in Australia. A mere 5 and 6 years later, there were so many achievements there, but they just felt hollow. And I realized, I'm here working hard and I'm making the shareholders happy, but it's having zero other impact in the world. What kind of changes is bringing about? What sort of, benefit is there to all this energy and input that I'm putting into this work? And, it really got to that point, I think, a moment when I'd had my first child and I'd returned back to work. And I realized that this culture that I was in was highly toxic. There was talk on the outside and on the surface about being a family-friendly organization, but that meant, we're family-friendly to the guys who have families and who have a wife at home looking after the kids, and hey, we're supportive of you and the things that you need to do. What they were not friendly to were working women who had children. And it was when I realized it really threw me for a while, because I thought, surely this can't be true. This is not what they talk about. And the signs were there and they kept on coming. And I think that, that saying, at first there's a pebble and then there's a rock. And if you're not paying attention, soon you get hit with a boulder. Well, the boulder came in the form of them asking me to take a step down in my role, even though the team had been increasing productivity, even though we'd achieved higher results. Clearly, I was very successful in my role and being successful purely because I'd had a second baby. And they asked me to take my foot off the pedal and to not be in the role that I had been in for years. And at that moment, I thought, that's it. I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not lying down and accepting this status that you are delivering to me and your expectation. And I just thought, I do not agree with you that I can't do this role while I have 2 young children. I think I can do it and even more. I'm not even getting the ability to show you what I can do. So I felt very enclosed and fettered almost. That's what they call it with a horse that's being held back. I felt like I was already being held back. And here they were thinking that I needed to take a step back simply because I had young children. And that for me was the breaking moment. That was a moment where I decided, I'm not doing this anymore. I am going to stand up for what I can do, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it. And that's when I decided to do something for myself. I decided I'm going to have the life that I want to have, and I'm not living by your rules anymore. So I started my own business in order to be able to choose my hours, choose my freedom, have the ability to go on holiday whenever I wanted, never ask for annual leave again. And if I wanted to be at school for my kids' activities, for the sports day, Parents' Day, the Easter bonnet parade, all of the fun things that are going on, I can be there because I've chosen that life, right? And that was a choice that I made. So I chose to start my business to support women who were exactly like me, but professionals with a lot of expertise, a lot of experience, who'd started their business in order to create their own freedom and flexibility and actually a life and business that worked for them, but that they were struggling to earn enough. They were struggling to attract clients, even though they had all the qualifications. So I thought, great, I can use my marketing expertise and really help them. And so I started off helping them with marketing and quickly realized that it was actually so much deeper than that. The key to success wasn't in having the website or the social media posts or the consistent branding or any of the things that were, from that corporate world ticking the boxes of marketing. No, it was actually something far, far deeper than this. And what I started to realize when I was helping my clients was what I was helping them with was reclaiming their personal power, actually being able to step into their personal power so that they could finally decide on the niche that leveraged their expertise and to stop thinking I need to figure out what other people want of me. I need, which is the common question. What do people want? What should I be? Which niche should I go into? What is it that everybody wants? And women in particular struggle with this because I believe, and what I've seen so often is we've given away our personal power for most of our adult lives to what we think others want. And we're so used to tuning into what others want from us and trying to be that thing that we've actually forgotten to tune into ourselves. We've forgotten to tune into who we're meant to be, what it is that we're really great at, like regardless of what anybody else thinks, regardless of judgment or anything else, what is within us. And we have got so disconnected from it that it is difficult to therefore create the right marketing strategy. And when you stay in this place where you're not connected to your personal power, it can just feel like it goes on and on and on, constantly shifting, changing, asking questions like, what's the popular color? What color should I use for my brand? Asking other people what colors they like, and then choosing your brand colors based off what other people like. Trying to ask other people what you should charge for your services. What do you charge? What would you like? All the time, every decision that you be making in your business is from other people's opinions. And they are just that, an opinion. So what an amazing realization when I realized that this was something not only that I had started to do for myself and, saying no to the corporate life, saying no to their idea of what they wanted me to do and the box that they wanted to put me in and all the restrictions, being able to start my business and being in my personal power, but also then actually being able to help other people, these beautiful women I was working with, to claim their power. Because as soon as they did, it was easy to identify exactly what their specific expert zone is. The expert zone is the niche that we use in Business Jam because it's more than a market. It's more than something that already exists. It's actually your own expert zone. So it's something quite unique. And I think that's what really gives you the difference. So in order to know what that is, you need to suddenly be claiming back your personal power, to be standing in it. And then how easy is it to know what the right offers are to have, to also be able to get yourself out there and start talking about it. Imagine how difficult it is when you're not in your personal power to get out there, to share with others what you do, to have passion, to show them the real strength of your expertise and your ability and your energy and your vision. It's almost impossible. In fact, I'd say it is absolutely impossible to do that if you are not in your personal power. So you might be like, well, how do I claim my personal power? What does that even look like? What is it that we need to do? And that's what I've got for you today are some questions that I'm going to ask you that will help you to start to understand what it is and what that might look like for you. So are you ready? Grab a pen and a piece of paper. I've got some questions. And as we're going through this, I encourage you to pause at any moment if you've got more. If you're writing down an answer and there's more there and you're going through, please pause this and write everything that's coming up for you. And when you're ready, hit play again so that you can then continue. Because in the moment that it's there, it's the best moment to harvest, I guess, the insights that you've got that are coming up for you. So I do ask that you take your time with this. Hopefully you're in a quiet place, you're relaxed. I was hoping you'd be relaxed because this is the Christmas holidays and, maybe the kids are a little bit hectic, but you hopefully can sneak away to maybe a quiet corner of the lounge, somewhere with a beautiful view, maybe even the bedroom. Shut the door, turn off the family for 10 minutes and just have this moment for yourself. So the first question that I've got for you is, if you were in your personal power, what do you think that would feel like on a daily basis? How would it feel to you? What would be the difference in how you feel today when you think about day to day, especially in your business, how you feel about yourself? If you were someone who was in your personal power, what might that feel like? What words come up for you when I say that? Could it be things like absolutely just confident, maybe overflowing with joy, with purpose? a real sense of being someone who matters. And whoever you matter to, that may be depending on who is in your world, who's in your life, who are your clients, your family, your friends. But imagine if in every aspect of your life you are someone who mattered. What if it means you felt very calm, focused, and had that ability to take decisive action without second guessing? Now, they're just some things to help you start the creative juices flowing, to help start your imagination. What would it feel like to you if you were in your personal power? Write down a few words that come to mind. Who would you be? Now, that's a funny question, isn't it? Because you're like, well, of course, I'm going to be me. And yes, you are. You are you. You are you, the version of you who's claimed back all your personal power or has finally released those episodes during your life where you gave your personal power away. And in doing so, you have therefore reclaimed it. So who would you be? What is this version of you? What are the attributes that you have that you would describe yourself as? How would you behave? So how would you behave? Would you be doing anything differently to how you are today? If you're this person who's in this amazing, emanating power from within you, it's like, think about, you might be like the lighthouse shining out the light that can guide others in. Being in that place of a leader that others can look to and follow because you are fully within your personal power with no judgment that's affecting you, nothing from other people, nobody else's expectations rule your life. How would you behave then? What would your business look like? Yes. Would it look any different to how it does today? What would you offer? What would you charge for your services? What is the service that you would most love to offer that you maybe aren't doing right now? Maybe because you're not feeling like you can, or that you have enough expertise or enough proof. What would you do? What would you offer? How would you serve people? What would you charge for it? What would you say about it? What are the things that you're dying to say and you're holding back? These are all things that you would do if you were 100% in your personal power. Now let's imagine just for a moment that this is real. It's the end of 2025. We're about to have the Christmas of 2025. So you've just spent the last 12 months living into your vision, fully within your personal power, living it out to the fullest over 12 months. So where are you now? Where are you as you wake up on the morning of Christmas Day, December 25, 2025? Where are you? What have you done this year? What are some of the big milestones that you've reached? Maybe some goals that you've exceeded this year. What have you done? What have you achieved? How does that feel? Now, as you think about that, I want you to reflect back on the 12 months and the year that you've had to get here. What was it that you did differently? What did you do this year in 2025 that you hadn't done before, that has helped you to achieve that goal, that's helped you to be here now, December 25, in 2025, in a completely different place than you were 12 months ago? What did you invest in? What did you invest your time, your energy, and maybe your money? What did you invest in? What did you invest your focus and yourself in growing this year? What did you let go of? I love the question, what did you let go of? Because sometimes it's hidden there, the little thing that's holding us back is actually something that we're holding on to that we just have to release. Maybe it's a fear or a worry, like, well, what if I, for example, invest in something and it's not a good investment? Well, then what? And maybe it's something else. Well, I need to let go of the fear of putting myself online or, actually speaking, having some posts on social media where I'm speaking. Maybe you've got a real desire to go on a podcast and you haven't because you're afraid of speaking, and that's okay. That's really normal. So if you have identified some things that you need to let go of, and really what we're looking at here is these are usually some core fears that we have. I'd love to share with you one of my favorite books. I have read it multiple times. It's called Feel the Fear, and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. So this book is not new. It's been around for a long time. I travel with it because I love to just open it up and read a few pages of it at any point in time. It has so many great mindset shifts and perspective shifts. But the key message from it is that any fear that we feel is fear that's going to be present. It's always going to be there. But the reason why fear stops us is because deep down we think we can't handle it. If that happens, we couldn't handle it. So that thing that we're afraid of is really means something that we're not able to handle. So what if you could decide, I'm going to be able to handle it? So even though I'm afraid of it, even though I'm afraid of making this investment, even though I'm afraid of taking this action, even though I'm afraid of speaking in public or putting my face online or whatever it is that you've written down you need to let go of, that's been holding you back. What if you could, for a moment, imagine that you're able to handle it? Because what's the worst thing that could happen? Really, often it's like we're afraid of doing this thing. And then when we look at, well, why are we afraid of it? What is the thing that we actually think is going to happen when we do it? Or if it, what is it? And then what? What does that mean? When we can look at that outcome that is the thing that's causing the fear, sometimes it can seem actually so trivial. You're like, well, why am I afraid of that? Of course I'd be all right. I might have a little disappointment in the moment that might be annoying or frustrating, embarrassing. So are we trying to avoid those feelings? Well, we've all felt those feelings before. We're going to feel them again. They will happen in life whether we want them to or not. I don't think there's anybody in existence who just doesn't have any of the feelings, and it's totally okay. So why are we afraid of them so much? Why do we want to avoid them? Because that fear of that feeling is actually then holding you back. So now you could look at the things that you did differently, what you invested in, that you've had that reflection on, looking back over your year where you stepped into your personal power. And now we can maybe start to get rid of or diminish some of the fears that you've had that have been holding you back from doing it. And there we go. The very start of your journey into reclaiming your personal power begins. Now, there's so much more I can share with you. I love to help people to step into their personal power, to claim it back. And, it's not done in a 30-minute session. It's done over a period of time because these moments pop up where, again, we find another way that we've given away our personal power to something, a thought, a situation, a person. And those are the moments where we can claim them back. And it's just so beautiful to do so. I've got many different tools that I use inside Business Jam to help people do that, and actually to help them to cleanse it themselves, to actually claim back that personal power themselves. It's not like we need to be always together in order to do it, but there are different tools that we use in order to help you do it. And now that you've started on this journey, then I hope that you've had something really valuable in listening to this episode today. I appreciate you being here. Please share this episode. If you've loved it, if you thought, what a great journaling experience. I've really enjoyed doing this exercise and discovering something about myself that I didn't know. And I'm curious about what I'm going to find out in 2025. as I've now decided I'm going to step into my personal power. I am going to lead from the front. I'm going to be unafraid of my business and unafraid of the decisions that I'm making. I'm going to make a bigger impact because of it. And as I make a bigger impact and serve more people, it's also going to increase my income because they go hand in hand. As you feel that, as you've experienced this episode, maybe you could think of some other people in your life, in your network, who could make use of this episode as well. And so I encourage you to share it. Let's share this. Let's see a big wave of women starting 2025 as they mean to go on, and not with just a New Year's resolution, but actually by shedding some of these things that have kept you back from holding your personal power. Because once you've got rid of them, they are gone. The more you can get rid of these experiences, people, moments in time where you've given your power away to, the more that we can claim it back and step fully into your power, then you can hold more. And as you go on through this year, you're going to experience such a different change from what you had previously. I would love to hear from you if you have any insights, maybe even a breakthrough moment, an aha that you've had from listening to this episode. And if you have, please post a screenshot of you listening to it or of the episode on your phone if it's on iTunes or on Spotify. Please post a screenshot on Instagram, maybe in your stories, tag me, even let me know what it was that you're doing, what you've decided, how you're going to step into your personal power this year. I would love to hear from you. Or you can just send me a private message because I check my DMs and I respond to people personally. You're not getting any bots when you communicate with me. You're getting me. So send me a message. I would love to hear from you. I always love to hear from listeners of She's the Business podcast. While I'm here, as this is the last solo episode for 2024, I wanted to say a massive thank you for being here with me, for being a listener, and please subscribe. Hopefully you've got this podcast in your playlist, you subscribe to it so that you don't miss an episode. I've got an absolute fabulous lineup coming up for 2025. So many incredible guests to come on here and share their magic with you, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Got a whole lot already recorded and ready to go. So that's why I know it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait to share it with you. So thank you so much for being here, and I will be speaking to you again in 2025.